Sir Isaac Newton was a super important guy in science. His smart ideas helped us understand how the universe works. He was born during a time when lots of new ideas were changing the world, and Newton's brilliance changed how we think about math, physics, and space. He didn't just discover things, he created a whole new way of doing science that we still use today. Newton's work was all connected. His studies of light, how things move, and gravity created the basis for modern physics and astronomy. He also invented calculus, a new kind of math that explains how things change and that changed everything. Isaac Newton was born on January 4th, 1643 in a small town called Woolsthorpe, England. His childhood was tough. His dad died before he was born and things weren't easy growing up. But even as a kid, he was super curious about everything. Newton really started learning at Trinity College in Cambridge. He studied the works of smart people like Galileo, Kepler, and Descartes. These early years helped him develop his amazing ideas. When the Great Plague hit, Newton had to go home, but this quiet time at home led to some of his most important discoveries. One of Newton's biggest achievements was inventing calculus. This new kind of math gave us a way to understand how things change and move. Calculus is like a special language that describes how the universe is always changing. Newton called it fluxions, and it involves things called differentiation and integration. These tools let mathematicians and scientists study how quickly things change, the slopes of curves, and how things add up over time. Calculus isn't just for math. It's super important for physics, engineering, economics, and lots of other things. In 1687, Newton wrote a really important book. This book explained his 3 laws of motion, and they changed how we understand how things move. The first law, called inertia, says that things stay still or keep moving in a straight line unless something pushes or pulls them. This was a new idea. The second law gives us a math formula: force equals mass times acceleration, or F equals sine ma. This simple formula is really important in physics. The third law says that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. This explains how forces work, like when a gun kicks back or how planets move around the sun. Newton wasn't just interested in gravity and motion, he also made amazing discoveries about light and color. He used prisms to show that white light is actually made of many different colors. Newton showed that when white light goes through a prism, it bends, and different colors bend at different angles. This creates a rainbow of colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. This changed how we think about light. Newton wrote a book about light called in 1704. He thought light was made of tiny particles. Later, scientists learned more about light as waves and energy, but Newton's work was the beginning of it all. Newton was curious about all sorts of things. He spent a lot of time studying alchemy, which was kind of like early chemistry. People think of alchemy as magic, but Newton studied it scientifically, trying to understand how matter changes. Newton also studied the Bible and history. He tried to match up historical events with stories in the Bible. This shows he was interested in time and how history fits together. Isaac Newton was a complicated guy. He was brilliant, but he also liked to be alone and keep secrets. He argued with other scientists, especially Robert Hooke and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Even though he was quiet, everyone knew how smart he was. In 1705, Queen Anne made him a knight, so he became Sir Isaac Newton. This was a big honor. Newton also led the Royal Society, a group of scientists, and he worked for the Royal Mint, where he helped make England's money better. Newton's work is still super important for science and math. He helped create modern physics, astronomy, and engineering. His laws about motion and gravity explain how things move on Earth and in space. Calculus changed math forever, giving us a way to study change and growth. His work with light changed how we see the world, leading to inventions like telescopes and microscopes. Newton also showed us how important it is to observe, experiment, and use math in science. He inspired many other scientists and changed how we think about science. Isaac Newton, the quiet genius who figured out how the universe works, changed the world. His discoveries about how the universe works still help us understand the world around us. From how planets move to how light behaves, Newton showed us the basic rules of the universe. He showed us how powerful human curiosity can be, how important it is to ask questions, and how one person can change how we see the universe. Newton's work reminds us that we can learn amazing things if we explore and try to understand the world around us.